How's it, guys? Today we're going to do something different. We're just going to make up some traces here that we're going to use in this video and see how effective they are. And the plan behind it is to go and look for the bigger fish, not the smaller that we usually catch. We'll see what is available if we go scratch around tomorrow. So first of all, we're going to do a small trace with braid. I'll show you how to tie the knots and how to tie braid onto your swivel and your hook, and that'll be your trace and how we're going to use it. So we got 100-pound braid, and we'll cut it. What do we got here? About 600. Now, to tie this to your swivel, you fold it just like that, and then stick it through the eye of the swivel. Okay, so to tie the knot, you stick it through, and then you just make a normal knot. Just like that, just a normal knot. Now the idea is to get this part of the swivel through the loop. So you stick it through the loop. If my hands are not, there we go. Alright, so you stick it through the loop and you pull it down, all the way down. Now you hold the tag end and the loop, and you hold it just like that, and you pull both. You've got a little plier because this braid is thick. You pull it tight, and you pull it tight, and that's tied. That will never come off. And then just cut the tag end off. That will not come loose. And do the same thing for the hook. Now fold it, just fold it. Okay guys, so you take the hook, put it through the loop, and it's still just a knot. And now you start to pull this lot together. Slowly, start pulling. Take up pliers and pull it a bit, and take up pliers again on the other end and pull it until that knot closes around the hook. And that's it, guys, simple as that. This braid is tough. It's a 100-pound braid. It's a bit thick, but we want to make sure whatever bites on it doesn't bite it off. So you got your hook and your swivel both tied, and this we'll use. It's about 500 long. We'll use this with a sinker on a sliding, and that will tie our bait here, and then we'll just cast it out and see what is available. So braid with a swivel and a simple knot. The sinker, we'll just take a piece of line, simple thing, just tie a normal knot through it, two ends, pull it tight, and that will stick through our sinker. Open it up, just a normal knot like that. And the same for the swivel. Stick it through, just push it through like that. Simple thing. So with our trace, we'll tie our bait on here. We'll tie our main line. We'll put this on the main line. We'll tie the main line here. So you'll get the effect. So you'll tie your main line on here, and you have a sliding sinker. So if a bigger fish takes this bait and pulls, the sinker doesn't put strain on the line and interferes with the bite. So it can pull. It'll pull your rod down and then you'll feel the fish. So for the bigger fish, we've got some steel wire. It's number 7 wire. Steel wire, that's just to prevent the bite off. They've got a piece of wire. We've got about a 5/0 hook. Now, it's a short shank hook. You can use really anything if you want, but you're going to add wire to it, so you don't need a long shank hook, because the wire will make up for whatever is needed. And yet again, simple thing. We'll stick it through and then we'll bend it. And then you'll just hold it and force it behind and start winding it up. The number 7 wire is tough. You wind it a couple of winds, it will not come off, definitely. Same like what we always do when we make shad traces. So simple thing, there it is. On the other end, we'll use a power swivel just to make sure it's strong enough, and not a very long trace. It has to be a short piece of wire. We'll do the same. We'll fold it and then we'll just wind it up a couple of times just to make sure this thing doesn't come out. You do not need to wind 20 or 30 winds. It doesn't need to be. That is your trace. So we'll cut the tag ends off. That is a strong trace, and we'll do the same thing. We'll tie braid onto it and then another swivel, and we'll do the same thing with a sliding trace. Just make sure you, after you cut the tag ends, those little pieces that stick up, those are the ones who catches the cotton and always becomes a problem. So you just put the pliers and let it turn inside the pliers, so you can turn them nice and flat. So now they're nice and smooth. So there we have our trace, and yet again we'll cut some braid and we'll tie it on. Okay guys, same thing, braid, fold it in half. Now comes the tricky part. We'll stick it through. Now wait, we're going to make a long one because we've got a whole trace to put through. So we'll stick it through. And we'll do a normal knot underneath and pull it. So now you've got to stick the hook through the loop. All the way down to the swivel. And I have to pull gently, slowly pull it. There you are. And you just cut this piece off. And that is your trace tied. Simple knot with a braid. It's very strong. You can pull just about anything with this knot. It does not slip. Okay, so on the other end, same thing. Just a normal knot. And then you've got to run the swivel through it. They got all funny names for these knots. I'm not that much too worried about it. So you just pull it tight. Take your pliers if you have one. Pull it tight. Just make sure the knot is properly tight before you cut the tags off. And there we have it. Another trace. braid is about 600 long, and we have our hook and trace. So we'll test this tomorrow. We're going to throw a smaller bait with a lighter rod, and we're going to throw a bigger bait with a bigger rod. We're going to use a 6-ounce sinker, something that holds in the sand so it doesn't move around too much. Some guys will put flotation. They believe that the bait must come up. For me, that's up to you. I believe the water moves around enough, especially with the braid, so it'll move the bait around, it'll draw their attention. And then we'll go put it to test tomorrow and see what we can find. We'll use these 2 traces in our video and see what we're going to do. Okay guys, I've noticed if I watch that video you can't really see what I do with the braid. So I've got a piece of rope here. We're going to simulate the same thing. So what we do, we fold it in half straight, just like that. And then we'll pretend this is your hook, your stick or your swivel. Stick it through. And you do a simple knot, just like that. Do a simple knot, and then the hook has to go, or the swivel has to go through the loop. So you put it through the loop. So you got your knot, you put it through the loop, and on the other end now you need to pull tight all these things. Just pull. Short end, long end, and that is the knot. And this will be the part that you cut off. I'll do it once more. Okay, so once again, you'll take your braid, you fold it double, you put it through the swivel or through the hook, and then you make a knot, just a normal knot. Now the tricky part comes. You need to put the swivel or the hook through the loop, and then push it all the way back to the beginning. And now you start pulling it slowly, slowly, slowly until it's tight. And then, my friend, does not come off, and you'll cut your tag end. The harder you pull, the tighter it goes. So I hope that's more clearly on how to tie the braid.